Hey guys, so today I want to share a really quick review with you. It's of the B8 Studio Pro powder. So this is originally $12.20 on the B8 website, but you can pretty much always get it on sale for around $5, which I think is an awesome price for a powder. So I kind of just want to compare it a little bit to my favorite powders and review it a little bit so you can get a good impression of what this powder is like. So I got this powder in the shade 230, which is definitely my summer shade. It's a little bit dark for me right now, so I have to be very, very light-handed when I use it right now during the winter. I will definitely try the shade down, which is 215 during the winter time. I plan on getting that eventually. So it has 7 shades in total, which I think is awesome. The lightest shade is 205, and it goes up to a really dark shade as well, which is awesome that it has some really light shades and then some mid-tone shades and then some darker shades, just because you don't often find that with a bunch of powders. So for that fact, I would definitely give it a thumbs up. So it comes in this compact, which open and closes shut, which is really awesome. And then it has a second layer, which has a little powder puff in it. So the powder is in the first layer, and then it has a huge mirror in it. So this is really durable and good for traveling. It does click shut, which is awesome. So this is supposed to be a matte finishing pressed powder, and I would definitely say that it is matte. So if you have oily combination skin like me, you would probably love that fact. I do feel like you can go a little bit heavy-handed with it, and it can look a little bit cakey just because it is such a matte powder, and you can definitely go heavy-handed with it if you're not using the right kind of brush. If you guys watched my first impressions of this a while back, I think it was about 1 to 2 months ago, I used a brush that was very, very dense, just because I like to try my powders with a dense brush, kind of something like this, and it did not work out well at all just because it caked up really, really badly. So if you plan to use a dense brush like this with this powder, be very, very careful. I would only recommend to use a dense brush like this in areas where you have some acne marks, and then packing it on, and then going back with a really fluffy brush like this and really dusting it out. How I like to apply this powder is definitely with a big fluffy brush like this one. This one is from the Vintage Cosmetics company, and it's their dusting and powder brush. I love this brush because, like I said, it is a big fluffy powder brush, so you're not going to get too much product on your face, and it has a really long handle, so you're going to be able to control the amount of coverage that you get on. I definitely recommend swirling it on rather than packing it on, because you're more likely to get a better coverage if you just swirl it on. And if you need to build up the coverage, you can always do a second layer. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch the powder for you. It is so finely milled, and it feels so silky smooth. And as you can see, it has really good coverage and pigmentation when you swatch it. So it's an excellent powder for people who do have more acne prone skin, or maybe they have extra pigmentation to their skin and need some more coverage. So supposedly this powder is a really good dupe for the MAC Studio Fix powder. Unfortunately, I have never tried that powder, so I wanted to go ahead and just talk about my favorite powders that I think are similar to it in case you're looking for a really good dupe to another powder. So obviously these two are very different price points. This one is the Rimmel Stay Matte Long Lasting Pressed Powder, and I get mine in the shade 011 Creamy Natural. And then this one is the Chanel Pedra Universal Compact Pressed Natural Powder number 30 in Translucent 2. So this one, the Rimmel one, is obviously the drugstore version. It's only about $3 to $4, and the Chanel one is about $50. So it's very, very expensive. So I think both of these are very, very similar in the coverage and the feel of the powder. So I really love both of these. As you can see, I've hit pan with the Rimmel one, and it also has really, really good coverage. I would say that the color is very similar as well. So the thing about the Rimmel one that is a little bit different to the Studio is that it's a little bit more chalky and it's a little less smooth, but you still get the same finish to your skin. It still feels amazing and it still controls my oil really awesome. However, I don't really like the packaging of the Rimmel one. If you're going to travel with it, obviously I would lean towards the BH Studio Pro, but they're basically the same powder. This one is just a little less smooth and the packaging is not as great. Then as for the Chanel one, I also really love this one. As you can see, I've also hit pan on this, and this is in the shade 30, which I think is a really good dupe. So 230 is actually a really good dupe for number 30 in the Chanel powder, and this again just feels very, very nice. It has an amazing amount of coverage and it controls my oily skin very, very nicely. So as you can see, it has an amazing amount of coverage. I would say that this is even more finely milled than the BH powder. Like, you don't even feel this on your skin. It just feels like your skin is perfect and amazing. So I really love this. Obviously the packaging is amazing for this as well. It clicks shut as well, and then it has a big mirror in it as well. So honestly, the Chanel one is my holy grail powder. I love it so much. It never cakes up and it is so finely milled and it just feels amazing on my skin. It doesn't honestly even feel like I am wearing any powder, but it soaks up the oil so nicely and it gives me excellent coverage. However, for the price, I will definitely be picking this one up more often just because it is a lot less expensive. When it comes to using this powder as a powder foundation, I would definitely recommend it, but I didn't like the coverage that it gave me with using a brush like this, which is the Real Techniques buffing brush. I didn't really like the coverage that it gave me on my acne marks, so if you have a lot of imperfections to your face, I would definitely recommend using the powder puff that comes in the compact. Once I used it, I really loved the coverage. It just gave me a really flawless airbrush look to my skin and really covered up those acne marks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I would definitely give this an 8 out of 10. I hope I have covered everything in this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!